thank you for stopping by and watching my video and joining me with today's coloring. I was hoping to color in this new book by Melpomeni Chatzipanagiotu, Nature Mandalas. It's just been released last week and I was so eager to get started on it. I just really felt like getting into the book and coloring. So I have been working on a lot of other whips and I've been trying to do some recordings for the channel. However, I put that all aside and I decided to color in this book. And I thought that I might just do a little video on how I go about coloring detailed, intricate pages, because I hear a lot of people who avoid detailed pages or do not know, where to start or how to go about a detailed page. A lot of people avoid it, a lot of people are put off by it. So I just wanted to show you my process of how I approach a detailed page, how I make it easier for me to color, and how I just enjoy the coloring process. I really like doing detailed pages, and so I'll just show you my process. I don't usually do mandalas, but I really like Melpomeni's book and I love her style, and for some reason I'm able to color her mandalas. So I started on a page already. It would take really long to do a full page with you guys, so I decided I'll do half the mandala, show you what it's going to look like. It's this page with the rhino, and I'm assuming, I think that's a pelican. And so I decided, okay, I'll do half the page and then the other half I'll record with you guys. So if you like what this side looks like, then by all means please join me in coloring this other side of the page, or hopefully there'll be some tips and tricks you can take away for some of your other more detailed books. If you've been avoiding getting into certain more intricate pages, maybe this will give you some ideas to put into practice into your coloring. So I will get started on this side and we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, so I've zoomed you in a little bit so that hopefully you can see a little bit better. I'm going to start with doing the sky background, and I like to do the background first because it then makes it a bit easier for me to see what's happening in the foreground. So most of the time I tend to do my backgrounds first and then color the rest of the page. So I will start with this little bit here, and we'll see how long it's taking and see whether I can do it all on camera or whether I go away and do a little bit afterwards, but let's see how it goes. I'm using Faber Castell Albrecht Dürer, but I'll be using them dry. So if you have Polychromos, you can, the shades are exactly the same, so you can follow along with that. Or if you have other pencils that you prefer, you can use those. I'll show you the swatch of the shades that I'm using. And yeah, hopefully you will enjoy this. I chose this page because obviously it has the rhino. And as I mentioned during the flip through, safari animals are very close to my heart. So this page straight away jumped out at me for being one of my first pages to color. So that's the reason why I chose this page. I'm going to cover up this side a little bit just so I don't smudge everything and I can rest my hand on it. And I'm starting with the shade Cobalt Blue 143. I was toying with the idea of going for a dark sky, so basically dark blue throughout. However, I then decided that sunny blue skies is what reminds me more of Kenya than dark skies. So that's why I decided, okay, I'm just going to go with sunny blue sky for the whole sky area for the mandala. So that's why this is the shades I have chosen. So I'm going to be going from darker on the outside of the mandala, coming in lighter, and I'm going to be putting in a bit of yellow just to sort of give that effect of the sunlight. For those of you who like mandalas, you might find it easier to color some of these pages than I would, because I usually prefer picking pages where there's a whole scene in that page, and so to pick a mandala and then try and figure out how to do the colors is quite challenging for me. However, with Melpomeni's pictures, it is sort of like a tiny little scene, at least on this page, within the mandala. So I do quite like her mandalas, and I really enjoyed coloring the other half of it. Okay, I'm changing the shade to a slightly lighter shade, light phthalo blue, 145. I'm sort of going over a little bit of that, just basically blending it together. I'm not very good with species, especially of the species of birds and flowers and all of that. So sometimes I just color what I feel like, but I think this one is a pelican, so I'll do it pretty realistic. What I've just, like, as you saw the other side of the page, I decided that I wanted the blue skies to mimic the skies I remember from Kenya, and then for the rest of the page I want it to be really bright, and so that the animals don't get lost, I didn't want to do them too bright. So I decided, okay, I'll do the rhino and the pelican a little bit more realistic colors, so that they don't disappear in too many colors, in all the bright colors. So if I did them bright too, they'd probably just disappear with the rest of the bright shades I have on the page. So I decided to keep them a little bit more on the realistic shades. I'm going in with sky blue now, 146. It's a very light blue because we're going in towards the sun area. Now the only problem with me doing half the mandala already and then going in now will be just trying to, basically I'll have to keep checking how I've done the shading so that I don't do something too different, because it won't look like a mandala. So I'm just gonna have to keep checking every now and then that I'm doing the right, I'm putting the colors in the right place, basically. So this is now light chrome yellow. I'm gonna just open this part of the page a little bit so I can see. And I'm going in from the sun towards the blue. Just going over the yellow a little bit so that it sort of has a smoother transition rather than just harsh lines. So it may look a little bit green in those areas, but that's okay. That's not a problem. I do tend to go over my colors quite a bit, like layering. I like to do layering, so you will see me go back and forth. In a lot of my videos, you'll see me keep going back and forth between my colors, so I apologize for that, but that's how I color. I tend to just, you know, lay down a color, go back over it, and I think you normally need to do that with pencils that need layering, like Polychromos, but I've never tried Prismacolor, but I don't think they're layering pencils, are they? So you don't have to keep going over them. But that's the you know, the style I've developed with my coloring. So yeah, I tend to go back and forth. I put a light layer first, I see how it looks, and then I sort of, you know, keep putting layers on until it gets a bit more vibrant. And then right at the end, once I'm happy, I tend to blend everything together, either with colors, either with water, or, you know, blender pencils. So yeah. So on this page, I will be using Tombow Dual Brush pens for a lot of the basing. So other than for the sky, and I think the water, pretty much for everything else, I will use Tombow Dual Brush pens. That is the reason I use that, first of all, is that it just helps me lay down color and sort of map out where, you know, I'm going to put which color I'm going to put where. So then it's easy for me to see what I'm doing and just go in and color and enjoy the coloring. So only for the sky and water will I be using just pencil. If I used the Tombows for the sky and all as well, I think it would be quite vibrant. And I don't want it to take away from how vibrant the rest of the page is going to look. So I prefer doing, in this instance, I prefer that the sky is going to be a bit less vibrant, so it doesn't take away from the rest of the page. Okay, so now I'm going to use Delft Blue. Just a little bit. Don't want to press too hard with this because it's obviously sort of got a hint of purple in it. But I just want to darken up the edges of the mandala. I'm trying out this a color along rather than just voicing over my videos. It's hard for me to do that because of my family life. Right now, my 2-year-old is supposed to be taking his nap. To me, it doesn't look like he is, so soon I may have to go and check on him. But usually he's around, or you know, he's napping, but I have the monitor on, so there's noise in the background, or you know, it's evening and my husband is home, so I'm chatting to him while I do a bit of coloring. So it's easier to get videos done and then voice over it when I have a quiet moment. And you know, sometimes you don't have the right lighting, so you can't record at that particular time when everything else is quiet in the house. So a lot of times I may have to do voiceovers, but let's see how this goes today. I've gone back in now with my cobalt blue just to take a little bit of that purple edge off the Delft blue that we had applied. Still gives it a nice effect on the edge there, but so has anyone else got this book yet? I know it's just come out. I don't know if it's out in the US yet. It was, this is the UK edition. I don't know when the US one was going to come out. Was it the same time? What do you guys think about this book? I really like it. As I said in my flip through, I think it's just Melpomeni's artwork that I absolutely love. Now, of course, I'm using pencils to keep going over and blending and layering. You could use, you know, a blending pencil if you wanted, a blender pen, rather than just go, because obviously those will be quicker than having to just go over and over your pencils to blend everything in. So you could choose to do that. Okay, then what I did was I found this a little bit too yellow. It looked, you know, I tend to take a picture when I'm coloring and just see what it looks like, you know, and I tend to then see whether I need to adjust anything. I'm just doing the sun now in dark chrome yellow, and I felt that when I took the picture just to see what the sky looked like, I found that the yellow looked quite neon. So then I just added a little hints of this color just to take off that little edge of neon-ness to it. So I'm just darkening up the areas here. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to now finish off this area here, you know, the same as I've done it on that side, because it will take me ages to do everything on camera. So it's exactly the same shades. I'm going to be using the same technique, just that because there's no sun right in the middle of the page, I'm doing the yellow effect from the bottom with the 2 shades of yellow I used, and then I'll be doing the blues coming from dark to light coming in, and I'll be right back with you. Okay guys, so that's the sky background done. Hopefully it looks almost the same on both sides. So now the next thing that I do on a busy page, in this case I'll be using Tombows, but I use that to lay down color, to map out where I'm going to put what color, and just to get some color down so that the shading process over the top of the Tombows is less. So you don't have to lay down Tombows, you can go straight in with pencil. A lot of people may use markers to reduce the number of pencils they need to use on the top of it to do the shading. However, I still enjoy the shading process with pencil, so I still tend to use a few colors over the Tombows. So if you don't have water-based markers, then you can just go straight in with pencil if you want, or if you have alcohol markers, because this is a single-sided book, you can use alcohol markers or just use pencils, whatever you like. But basically, this is the next step that makes it easy for me to tackle a busy page. So I'll start with the basing process now. I use a few different techniques for doing my basing, and so the first one is just using the markers direct on the paper. So in the first one I'm going to use is this Tombow 090. So as you can see, I did the border sort of a gold shade and the inner bit there. So this 090 I'm using to base the areas which I'll be doing the gold shade. So I'm just going in direct, sorry, and just laying down the color basically. But you'll see, like, it basically puts so much color down on the paper, and then it just makes it so easy to look at what you're doing, to see where colors go, and just then you can just disappear into your coloring and not worry. I just have a paper to my side, just cleaning my brush pen. So all of this is going to be gold, so I'm literally just marking out all the elements on the page that are going to be gold. I think those are all the gold elements. Alright, so the next one I go in with direct is going to be this blue shade 553 for the inner part, the circle. Again, as soon as I apply this color down, you can see all the different little details that you're going to have to fill in over the top. It just makes it easier to see all the small details. So it's nice to just take that little bit of time to sort of, well, for me at least, to sort of mark out or to block out the background areas sometimes, so that it's easy to see what remains to color. Okay, and then you can see obviously that area is a bit darker because I go in with pencil just to give a little bit of shading effect. The next one I'm using is a Tombow 131. This is to base the leaves that are going to be green. So just making sure that I'm matching it all up correctly. So if we go here, those leaves are going to be green. Now, you could always do you don't have to do half the mandala first and then do the other half like I have. I just, I started coloring it and I realized I'm like, oh, I could come on and just show you my process of how I color intricate pages. And so I decided, once I started, I was like, oh, let me just do half. And then, so basically I just keep checking now what I've done. So any more green here? I think that's it. Those are okay. Up here, this one, there's these blades here are going to be green. I don't know if you guys can see that how it's making it easier, because now I know when I go in with my pencils I can differentiate. Okay, these look quite similar, but that is a little bit greener, but I can differentiate the shades and then just get the right pencils out and just color all those green areas at the same time, for example. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not missing any greens out. You can always go in later, but there we go. So that's my basing for the leaves. Now, what am I going to base? I'm going to base these leaves, I guess, but I decided not to do them green. So I'll do that one. Now, the technique I use for that is I have my Caran d'Ache palette, the smooth side of it, so I'm going to use that to apply my pen. So that's the 673. I'm just going to apply it onto the palette, and I'm going to use a water brush now for applying this color. I have water on the side. I'm using a small water brush. And I've got a little napkin here as well, paper towel, sorry, to wipe off my brush. I'm just going to pick up the color and I'm going to base it. Now, the reason I'm applying it like this rather than going in direct for these blades is because I didn't have this is a shade I wanted for the basing, and I didn't have a lighter version. So if you can see, it's when I'm applying it now with the water brush, it's a lot lighter than what the swatch shows, and so I wanted a lighter shade, which is why I'm using the water brush. So it gives it the shade I need. Now, I could use the blender pen, which is basically just a colorless Tombow brush pen, but I don't know, I prefer using my water brush, so that's the only reason I'm using it. I will be using the blender pen a bit later on, so you will see that technique as well. So of course, when you're doing this on your own, you could just, you know, do that little segment and do the exact same thing on the opposite side. It would probably make it easier. Less likely to get something wrong, I guess. Just checking, making sure I haven't missed any of this shade. That's the more dark purpley shade, so there's the little bits in there still. So the next one I'm going to do is going to be these ones here, these leaves. So I'm just making sure my brush is all clean, and the shade is that one, 025. So again, I'm just going to apply it to my palette. And I'm going to use my water brush again. So again, the reason I've done that, you can see how dark that color is. So I don't want it to be that dark, because I want to go over my pencils to give some shading effect. So if I went in dark, it would be really hard to give a good contrast, basically, between the darks and the lights. It would all be very dark. So that's why I want a lighter shade to give that good contrast between the two. And when I'm applying the color, I tend to, especially with the wet pen, with the water brush or a blender pen, I start with the area that's going to be darker, and then go towards the lighter area, because obviously that's where the shadows will be. So you want the darker color to be applied there, and as you're pulling, obviously the color gets used up, then it becomes lighter, it becomes a bit of a gradient. So I tend to do that. this pink is these flowers basically. So that's what I'm going to do next. Again, I'm using the water brush to do this. Again, you can see how vibrant that pink is. I don't want to have it that dark, so that's why I'm using the water brush again. Making sure my water brush is clean, doesn't have any more of that orange on it. And I'm going in. So like I said, I start from the shadow areas where I'm going to make the petals the darkest, and then I blend outward so that the edges are a bit lighter. You can see the difference in the pinks. Trying to be a bit faster. The basing part of it should be a quick process, but I like to take my time. I'm slow. I'm going to do the rhino basing now. So I'm using a cool grey N60. Again, with my water brush to just apply the colour. It's a very light colour, but it takes away the white of the paper, so it does help putting a layer down, even if it's this light. So that was quick, wasn't it? Now I think this is the last thing I have to base, so hopefully I have got everything covered. And now I'm going to use a blender pen this time, only because the area I'm coming into, the bits that I'm going to do is quite small. So again, the reason I'm using a blender pen is because I don't want the shade to be that dark. So all these little bits is what I'm going to now shade. Alright guys, so that is the start of my page where I do the background, where I do the basing, and now hopefully you can see that everything is laid out, and the next time we come in is with the colors, and we should be able to see where they should go easily. So hopefully this gives you some ideas for your pages. I do like doing this, especially for busy pages, and it works for me and I enjoy it. So I'll see you in the next part where we'll go in with the pencils. Till then, bye bye.